Hello, my name is Arthur. In the last video we gave a little rundown of the project, and I've made a few changes to script since then, and give it some shoot function and have the enemy tank moving. Now, I don't want to cover the bullets because the bullet scene and the bullet script, that's all kids can code. Um, for this project and learn more about this project than I'm going to be able to teach, I could suggest checking out the Kids Can Code top-down tank tutorial because a lot of this is evolving from my first try going through that tutorial. So that's a better place to learn that stuff, and I don't really want to cover his topic, his content, I should say. And I don't really want to spend the time doing something that's already online for people to look up. So, yeah, you're probably better off learning the scripting from a tutorial person like that because he's much better at teaching it than I am. I can muddle through and give an idea, but I'm not that good at teaching it. So we're going to look at what I have going and ignore how the bullets because that's something that you can get from him. We're going to look at the movement of the tank and we'll have a short look at the targeting array because that's a little bit different. And mostly we're going to look at the movement though. So I have the enemy tank moving around, and what it's doing is it's being driven given destinations from the enemy control node and these three position 2Ds. So more or less position 1, position 2, and position 3, and it's just in an array here that's when it makes it to one destination it gets the next one. If we watch the movement of the tank, what we'll see is he's constrained to 8 direction movement, as though he's being driven by the direction keys. And all of the characters are being constrained with the 8 direction movement. At the beginning of the series, I said that I was shooting for a graphic that would be similar to old Command and Conquer Red Alert. And I'm pretty sure this is exactly the kind of movements that that game had. And what you get from it is the benefit of graphic continuity. Like, it may not be the slickest movement that you're going to see in a video game, but the graphics always look right. So you don't have a character running towards this point but facing straight up. And that happens all the time with the standard movement. Um, the other benefit from this kind of movement is in the area of player characters. Now, when you're moving multiple characters to a point and click, typically what they're doing is both of them are picking an angle directly to this point, and they end up converging in the middle and bumping into each other while both of them are moving. And that presents a dilemma of collisions. With the 8 direction movement, when we click and move them, they're running parallel to each other, they're not bumping into each other, and it won't be until the point where they reach a destination, and let's get them out of the way of the tank. The point where they reach a destination, one player may be stopped, and the other player will bump into him. So in this event, one player will probably stop and one will bump into the other. We'll get that to happen so we can look at that. So what's happening here with move and collide, only one character is registering a collision. That gives us a power in the scripting that doesn't occur when both characters are registering the collision. So we'll just glance at that really quickly. See, we're using var collision equals move and collide dot motion. If collision, you see right there, one player is registering a collision. If collision, get collision body. If body is in group player, shuffle dot body or shuffle body, and you can create a function to tell the the character that isn't walking. You have power to send a command to. But if both are walking and colliding, you don't have the anything to sort out who's going to receive the command. So that's why it's better to have them run parallel and have units that are stopped having some other friendly bump into them, because it gives you a hierarchy to pass a command to. In targeting, we have add remove target, and that's coming from damage zone, the same as it was before. An area enters the view area, and instead of using a set get, it's now using add remove target. It sends the area's parent, which is the kinematic body, and it sends the action desire to add or remove. So that's more or less how the targeting array is used. Because we're dealing with multiple targets, we have to have a way to push targets into an array, pull targets out of array, and carry multiple targets, because that tank could very easily be driving past 30 soldiers, and some of them would be dying, so they need to be removed. It needs to select a live target and be able to do that. One thing to note about add remove target is it's the result of a signal. So when we're in function process and we get to else, this is else meaning there is no more destination target. There's no more target to move to. So this becomes the only thing that's happening. And it's going through this, if there's a target in range loop over and over again. It's necessary to have the shoot target comparison right next to the shoot call, because this is a long time that the signal can occur after that initial check for a shoot target, and it's a long time for that target to become null, especially with a yield. So the shoot target comparison needs to be made right before the function call, because you can't find a global position if this got interrupted by a signal calling a function and breaking it outside of its typical loop. Can throw a lot of errors, and this is the best resolution that I know to that possibility, is to have the check right before. So we'll look quickly at the move direction and how that's getting set. And what happens is anytime a move target is given to a unit, this is the function that's called by control for a player unit being sent to a mouse click. Once it has a move target, the move target is sent to find the move direction. For an enemy unit, it happens in physics process. If it doesn't have a move target, it looks to its own control node to seek a destination from the position 2Ds and looks for its move direction. Move direction is basically animation direction. It used to get called every single loop, but now it doesn't, because that doesn't work this way. So move direction is basically no different than animation direction, except it's assigning the standard direction key vectors as the direction, as well as the 4 combinations of direction keys to complete all of the 8 directions. And it comes down calculates the motion in the standard way that it would be calculated if things were driving around by direction key. It gets sent for conversion from Cartesian to isometric, which is this function here. This function and formula comes from, I'm pretty sure it was GD Quest. And starts moving, and this is where move and collide happens, and this is where a function can be added to give those colliding characters a way out of colliding. But while it's moving, what's going to happen is it's going to come across one axis or another before it makes it to its target, because seldom is the angle going to be correct to get to the target, because it's constrained to 8 angles. So it takes a difference of position X and target X, or position Y and target Y. If it's less than 2, it seeks a new direction. So in other words, it's going on its direction. The direction isn't quite right. It reaches the destination along one axis, changes direction, and drives up that axis. So hopefully that's clear as to how that moves and works. And I'm pretty sure that covers most of the changes in the script as well, and should have the script on the screen long enough for anybody to have had a good look at it if they're inclined to copy it or whatever. I don't really mind. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll come back and we'll look at something like getting a player helicopter flying, and see what we can do with an idea like that. Maybe something that shoots rockets would be cool. So until then, take care.